What's up guys, I'm doing another Call of Duty Black Ops 4 video, and in today's video we have a really exciting thing going on, and this is we have some new leaks for Blackout. So for the Battle Royale mode we have new leaks for multiplayer about like specialist missions and like a new game mode and some new weapons, and we even have some new zombies, details and leaks and stuff. So these come from the Woo lads. These are the guys who leaked World War II's DLC 4 early, so before DLC 4 was announced or even teased or anything like that, they leaked the war, mode and map and everything for that, and detailed everything was going to go on with war. And a lot of people were like, yeah, no, that sounds too out there, but they turned out to be right after it was revealed what Call of Duty World War II's DLC 4 war map would be. So these guys have a track record of proving things right, so it makes sense that this is also from that same source as well. So first off, we're going to start out with a new mode that they detailed. So this new mode is called Outboarding, and it is apparently a training slash tutorial mode. It features Sergeant Frank Woods from Call of Duty Black Ops 1 and 2, as well as Reznov from Black Ops 1, and I also guess World at War. And Woods wakes up from some sort of simulation, perhaps ran by the Specialist organization, and they also say that this may have been cut and replaced by the Specialist Stories mode. So now we're going to be talking about Specialist Stories mode. So Treyarch's kind of like thing about this is that since they dropped the campaign for this year and they don't have a campaign for Black Ops 4, they're going to be kind of making that up to the community by having specialist stories. So it's going to be campaign-esque missions, but they're going to be revolving around the specialists, which I think is a really cool thing that kind of ties in, multiplayer together, but also still has, some sort of campaign-ish kind of single-player thing that you can do against, AI and stuff. And so I think it would probably be a whole lot better than maybe even like a full story or a full campaign. But this is something that I kind of wish they would have done with Black Ops 3's campaign, is introduce the specialists and how they kind of connect to multiplayer. But obviously Treyarch took it a different direction and just had the specialists introduced via like cards and audio things and like all these different little things you had to kind of read up about. But the specialist stories missions are the following that I'm going to talk about in a second, are apparently small parts of the larger missions, and these are what we will see, but there's so much more to each specialist mission. So apparently for Ruin's mission is a grapple range, and you get to like move around and grapple and stuff, and this is honestly what I expected from like all of these. My guess, clear back when they announced this as to like what all the specialist stories and missions and everything were going to be, is my guess is that it would be maybe 2 levels or 2 missions for each specialist, where you go through and it's kind of like an introduction to using their specialist weapon and then an introduction into using their specialist ability. So that's kind of what it sounds like they're doing, but they're also introducing more of a story into it and building up their characters as well. So for Ruins, it's a grapple range that you're moving around kind of using grapple, and his mission is set up against him and he defies authority. The mission features Battery, that specialist, and he also has an overarching love interest partner story with a new character. Firebreak's cutscene is the same as what he described in his Black Ops 3 transmission, so yeah, obviously had to do some challenges in order to unlock that in Black Ops 3, but he's trying to kill his father. Recon's mission is run by Battery, and it turns out to be a setup by the Specialist organization. In this mission, Recon has to make a hard choice, something along the lines of killing a child. He makes this sacrifice and is recruited by the organization. Crash's mission is about him owing someone money and coming up with a solution to that debt. My guess is might tie into Hacienda or something like that. That'd be kind of cool. Kind of seems like a map that could tie into this mission well, and with his specialist well. So Seraph's cutscene showcases the events she spoke about in her Black Ops 3 transmission, labeled 7.1 Elevation, where she shared how she gained her cybernetic arm and Annihilator, and by getting her arm cut off. So apparently these specialists are brought together by a woman who seems to be a typical occult character, and aside from the specialists we saw in the beta, they've apparently also been developing Spectre and Reaper. So 2 specialists we saw in Black Ops 3. So Spectre was the Ripper guy and active camo, and then Reaper was Scythe and Psychosis. So really cool. We're getting apparently another 2 specialists, and Spectre has been fully modeled and fully developed with a new model in the game. And we can't show anything here, and apparently they can't show it as well because of copyright reasons, because it is copyrighted and it's an asset owned by Treyarch and Activision. You know, in this Reddit post, they post a mock-up that they did in like Microsoft Paint or something. So if you guys want to check that out, you can check that out in the link in the description. But apparently the game has support for Reaper's minigun, so his scythe. But they also say it could be leftover from Black Ops 3. But they say although they have also done some concept art for him. So really interesting. That gives us some more details on what the specialist stories missions are going to be for Black Ops 4. For the weapons that I talked about, apparently they've developed 2 new weapons which weren't in the beta. So it's a new launcher. It's a small launcher, and it's apparently somewhat similar to the Black Cell in appearance, and maybe lock-on only. So, you know, my guess is, you know, really similar to the Black Cell. They also apparently have a new assault rifle that wasn't in the beta that it has angular lines on its receiver and curved iron sights. So there's also a link to the artist rendition of that. I'll link that in the description below. And then also apparently Treyarch is going to be supporting Black Ops 4 with some new events. So they, you know, initially they did this with Modern Warfare Remastered, and they also started to introduce this in Black Ops 3. So currently in Black Ops 3 they have a Days of Summer event going on. They had this going on last year with Black Ops 3, Modern Warfare Remastered, and Infinite Warfare. So they're bringing these back, and I really enjoy it. I really loved the World War II ones that they did. They did, you know, Winter Siege, Resistance, Blitzkrieg, Shamrock and Awe, and, you know, of course, all the others. But apparently Treyarch has been, you know, developing variants of weapons and specialists under the theme of Day of the Dead and Halloween. So this is really cool that, you know, it's not going to be just, you know, variants of weapons similar to World War II. Apparently it's also going to be like specialist skins and stuff, which, you know, makes sense. Treyarch kind of did that a little bit with Black Ops 3. They had, you know, some kind of themed, you know, specialist uniforms and stuff. They, you know, did Hive, and they also did Permafrost as well. So this is really interesting. You know, they're doing Day of the Dead and Halloween, which also makes sense because this is the first year that we're getting a Call of Duty game before Halloween. And I always kind of thought it'd be fun to have kind of a Halloween event or DLC or something for a Call of Duty game, you know, especially like for zombies or something like that. I feel like they could do something cool there. But, you know, by the time Halloween came around for every single Call of Duty game, you know, the next Call of Duty game was like a week or 2 away. So by that point, it's kind of too late. But kind of interesting this year, since the game comes out beginning of October, they, you know, have time for an event. So my guess is that's going to be the very first event that Treyarch does for Black Ops 4, and it also makes sense why they're starting this, you know, all this stuff now. This stuff is found in the code and leaked now. So apparently this also includes a Halloween themed supply drop, and apparently this could change as Activision and Treyarch still make decisions on how to handle microtransactions in the game. They said that they can't show any of the assets because they'll get taken down, because like I was saying earlier, it's, you know, copyrighted by Activision and Treyarch, and so, you know, you obviously can't show something that's owned by somebody else like that, or else, you know, they're you know, that's grounds for it to be taken down. But they showed off a Day of the Dead variant of the Vapor XKG weapon that we saw in the Black Ops 4 beta, and they also apparently have another variant which doesn't seem to be themed after a specific event, after the MX9. So we have artist renditions of these in the description down below that you guys can check out. You guys can check out that and see kind of what these guys make it look like. So this is kind of like their interpretation of what they see, because they can't share the actual image. So it's kind of like a sketch up of what they saw. So now for the information on Blackout. So we've been getting a lot of information on Blackout recently. I mean, it's really good, especially since, you know, we're like, what, like 2 weeks away from getting the Blackout beta. So Cracked and Array, these are 2 maps from Black Ops 1, have been remastered and put into Blackout. So, you know, the Blackout is, you know, we've been told that it's going to be a combination of all sorts of, you know, Call of Duty Black Ops maps, you know, from Black Ops 1, 2, and 3, you know, scattered all across, you know, one big map and put together for a Battle Royale map. So, you know, we now get confirmation of, you know, 2 more maps that are going to be in Blackout. You know, we already know that, like, Nuketown's going to be in there. We already know that Firing Range is going to be in there, and, you know, tons of other maps. Even, like, a Zombies map. We even know that Verrückt is going to be part of this. And apparently there's also going to be doors in some of the buildings and some of the maps, just like in PUBG and Fortnite, which can be open and closed. You know, kind of a standard Battle Royale feature. You know, nobody really, you know, denied that was going to happen. They also have scavengeables, just like in the heist mode. So, you know, that was also another thing people, you know, kind of thought about. They're like, oh, heist is kind of like a combination between standard multiplayer and, you know, the Battle Royale Blackout mode. So they also said that it's aimed to have zombies present in the Blackout mode in certain areas, such as Verrückt. They say that this probably won't make it into the Blackout beta, so, in the beta, we probably won't see any zombies in some of these zombies areas, but we're still going to be able to go to like Verrucht and, play there and, shoot other people in, standard battle royale multiplayer. So the next thing is that some people have data mined that there's going to be up to 100 players in Blackout, and apparently these are slots they use for testing, but they say that this doesn't necessarily mean that this is what the final mode is going to actually support. So we at this point do not know how many players are actually going to be able to be in Blackout. Some people are saying that Treyarch is shooting for a minimum of 64, but apparently there's slots all the way up in the game to 100 players. So hopefully Treyarch can actually make it work to actually hit 100 players, because I feel like that's kind of what you want in a battle royale mode. If they just have 64, it's going to kind of be lame. It's almost half of what you have in PUBG and in Fortnite, so that's kind of lame. But whatever makes the mode run well. If it's 100 players but it runs like crap, who's going to play it? So the last thing that we have for Blackout is that we now know for certain that you will be parachuting into the map after gliding in on a wingsuit. So it's something a lot of people kind of were wondering about. Is there going to be like a bus that drops you into the map just like in PUBG and in Fortnite or whatever? People were saying it's going to be the bus from Nuketown or the bus from Transit or something like that, but no, you're going to be parachuting into the map after gliding in on a wingsuit. Kind of reminds me a little bit of the Black Ops 2 campaign mission where you glide in on a wingsuit, so kind of cool there. And then for zombies, for the leaks that we have, is just one small thing, but it's also kind of interesting in and of itself, and that is that in Blood of the Dead it features a dog that you can call in, just like Nomad's dog in multiplayer. So I don't know about you guys, if you guys use Nomad's dog in multiplayer, it actually sucked quite a bit and it like didn't do anything, but I don't know, it's kind of interesting. You get to call in a dog in Blood of the Dead, so like of course you got the like the hellhounds on the walls that you got to feed in the original Mob of the Dead, but apparently you get to call in a dog is like a score streak or just something. I don't know, it's kind of weird, but whatever. Apparently that's gonna be happening in Blood of the Dead. So yeah, what do you guys think of that in the comments down below? What do you guys think of all this stuff in the comments down below? The specialist missions, this new mode, the weapons, the events that are going to be coming, and all the Blackout stuff. And of course, what about this dog that's going to be in Blood of the Dead apparently? Tell me in the comments down below what you guys' thoughts are on all this. And I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.